Hello, everyone. One of the things that I always thought would be interesting is if there was a streaming service or maybe a television station exclusively for writers, that writers are the target demographic. Now, perhaps there is such a thing and I've just never heard of it, but I honestly think that you could have all sorts of different kinds of programming on this streaming service or on this channel. For example, you could have a show similar to the Bob Ross Joy of Painting series, only this time it would be the Joy of Writing series, where you could have a writer who sits down and talks about their love for writing. Perhaps they can compose some writing on the show. And personally, that's a show that I would like to host because I honestly think I would be good at that. And that show wouldn't have very much of a budget. All you would need would be some kind of a small studio to put the writer in, and that would be it. That's something that I could perhaps build myself someday. I don't know. And then you could have another program, a documentary program, where a writer talks about famous writers of the past. That they could go to the homes of famous writers, to where, for example, Edgar Allan Poe lived, or Charles Dickens lived, or where Shakespeare once lived, and they could try to retrace the steps of famous writers. That's honestly a show I would also like to host. Now that would require somewhat of a budget because of the editing and then the traveling and all of that. And you could also have a show where a journalist or someone interviews various writers. And that would be interesting because I honestly lament the death of the long form interview, television interview or filmed interview, which no longer seems to exist. So, yes, you have podcasts now, but there really aren't a whole lot of long form interview shows like Charlie Rose or Dick Cavett, shows where hosts would interview famous writers. There just aren't a lot of shows like that anymore, so that could be a program. You could also have a program that talks exclusively about screenwriting or other niche areas. You could also perhaps have some fictional programming about the lives of writers. And there's all sorts of different things you could do. Yes, this would be very niche, but nowadays there are a lot of niche streaming services. So this is definitely something that I would like to come to fruition. Of course, I don't have the money or the budget to make anything like that happen, but it would be interesting.